We're talking college basketball once again on a Tuesday. That's right. Nonstop college basketball. We promised here all week long on Proline TV. We have two more big days, smorgasbord of college basketball, Jim. We have four championship games to preview and 6 conference tournaments that'll be getting underway between today and tomorrow, when we'll be doing this all over again. How's it going, Jim?
Overwhelmed. Doing good, overwhelmed. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of action. But like I said yesterday, sleep is optional.
Yeah, so let's hope we don't get knocked off again, because I don't want to have to go through this again. So let's hope
maybe we got to do short ones so that we don't lose what we have.
Well, trust me, we're trying to do this as fast as we can anyway. So Let's go right into it and start with the Horizon, Jim, because Robert Morris is a short favorite against Youngstown State. Robert Morris has been the best team in the Horizon all season, and he survived overtime yesterday against my sleeper, Oakland. But they're still there now in the championship game.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about this. I'm looking at the chart right now. Youngstown State and Robert Morris. Season-wide, Robert Morris 23-9, Youngstown 19-12. But the thing that makes Robert Morris so popular is they're 25-7 against the spread, where Youngstown's 15-15. However, when you look at the numbers, actual power ratings in 7 different categories, guess what? Youngstown is the better team. 70 versus 68, 71 versus 67, 73 versus 66, 62 versus 61, 79 versus 71. And they're the underdog. Now, guess what? The public loves the 25-7 against the spread. Why not? Because that's how you make your money. But you know what? This is the big game. I got to take the dog plus the points.
Wow. That is incredible, isn't it?
You can't play Robert Morris when they got 7 power rating numbers that are all inferior.
Yeah, plus at least if we're not talking an even game, we're talking a 3-point spread. So
yeah, and who had the tougher game yesterday?
Absolutely. Robert Morris, very lucky to be here. They survived overtime. By the way, the dog in this series this year has won both games. Of course, they did it both on the road. This will be a neutral site. And that is an incredible number, though. Robert Morris, 24-7 against the spread. That has to be the best in college basketball. I mean, that's just crazy.
I don't know if it's the best, but it's damn good. Make a lot of money.
It's up there. Okay, so that's the Horizon. Now, let's move on to, we got the Northeast, where we expect there to be a potential blowout tonight.
Who are we talking about?
Because Central Connecticut State is in the championship game again. Well, like we expected, as a heavy favorite before the tournament started. And they're also pretty good against the spread. They're 20-9 against the spread.
Right.
And they beat St. Francis, their opponent, this year twice. They beat them straight up and against the spread by a total of 31 points. So they handled St. Francis, which is a sub-500 team. They ended the regular season winning 3 straight overtime games, and then entered the postseason winning the first 2 games by 3 points in both games. They were a favorite in the first game. They were an underdog in the second game. This is a 9.5-point spread.
Well, this is tough. I mean, this is a tough one because you really do have an inferior team in St. Francis. But the fact that it's such a big number, if it's 9.5, it means you can buy at the 10, which I strongly suggest you take double figures, because I don't see. I don't know. I'd have to take 10. I can't lay it. I just can't lay it. It's just, I know they're an inferior team, but it's the third go around. I just can't. I can't lay that number. It's too big a number. I got to take
10 now.
St. Francis. I have to be on them.
Okay. Then we have the CAA, and that championship will pit the UNC Wilmington, one of the better teams from the CAA, against upstart Delaware, who just keeps winning and playing. This will be their 5th straight day of playing and hopefully, of course, winning. They've won 4 straight days, and they ended the regular season on a 6-game losing streak. And so they go into the postseason, and they've won all 4 in 4. Actually, they've won all 4, covered 3 out of 4, and now they're going to look for a 5th straight win in 5 days. They're getting 8.5.
It's a big number. Big, obviously. It's the right number. I made the game 8.5. But the question to me is, I mean, none of these type of schools were the lower level type schools. They don't have tremendous athletes on either side, of course. But I mean, they're good players, obviously. But you talk about your legs. I mean, 5 days in a row. I mean, that's brutal.
And they blew out Towson yesterday. It wasn't like it looked like they had anything wrong yesterday, and that was their 4th straight day.
I have no idea what to do with this, except it's the number that I made it. I don't know what to say about it. I really don't.
Okay.
These are 2 schools that I really haven't looked at all year.
Well, why would you look at Delaware until now, right?
Well, I mean, if you're betting on Wilmington, you got a pretty good point spread record for the year. But the point is, it's so difficult because usually, like racehorses, if you have a $2,000 claiming race and a $40,000 claiming race, you got quality of the horses. You get more consistency out of the better horses. Well, the same thing happens with athletes. They're good, but they're not great. They're not going to be in the NBA. And so now you're talking about 5 days in a row?
Yeah.
Pardon?
That's why anything can happen.
Well, that's why, that's not how I bet my money.
No, I get it.
Next.
By the way, UNC Wilmington beat College of Charleston by 1 point last night. And Delaware had actually, like I said, no problem with Towson. UNC Wilmington beat Delaware both times during the regular season, straight up and against the spread by 40 total points. Okay, let's get to the WCC, and here we go again. It's a broken record, Jim. And for the 3rd time this season, since we've been doing this show, we encounter St. Mary's and Gonzaga, with Gonzaga as the favorite. And both times previous, we went with St. Mary's. We took the dog. And when we took them as a dog the last time at Gonzaga, it was about 4.5. Well, on game day, it skyrocketed to about 7.5. Everybody was taking Gonzaga, and St. Mary's owned the game from start to finish. Gonzaga made it close in the second half, but St. Mary's pulled away. And they have now beaten Gonzaga 3 straight times, all as dogs, including the championship game last year in the WCC. And once again, St. Mary's is the dog, getting, I believe, 3.5.
Here's the situation. Gonzaga is, you've heard of analytics. We've all heard the words until we can't. We're tired of hearing about it. When it comes to analytics, when you take all the metrics and you put it together, Gonzaga just lights it up. I mean, they can win when they want to play. They got a good coach. They both have good coaches, and that's important. They both have the pedigree, the history. Everything is there. They played for years. They've been in the same conference, and they've played a million times. But St. Mary's dictates the pace, and they're very well coached. They don't make mistakes. No, they're not great against the spread, but when they're favored, it's hard for them to cover because they don't score that much. It's one of those situations. You have the better team, metric-wise, analytics-wise, that doesn't play the style of game that can match up with this. And this is where the style comes in. It's a style situation. It's hard to beat St. Mary's because they don't beat themselves. And Gonzaga does. They can win this game by 40 or lose by 2. I mean, that's how they play. And that's why their metrics are so high. When you look at the power ratings, take that all out, Gonzaga should win the game. And they should be favored. But that's not the history of these two. These two
it's a rivalry which right now St. Mary's is in the head of Gonzaga. And it was the opposite several years ago. So right now St. Mary's is they've got something on them. And look, we're not talking about an even game. We're talking about we're getting 3.5 here. So
you can buy you'd have to buy it to 4. I mean,
come on. I mean, we went with St. Mary's the first 2. They won both games. It'd be ridiculous for us not to go with St. Mary's again. Ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I'll buy it to 4. I'll take St. Mary's. I'll do it again.
And look, if they lose, we still went ahead this year because we got them twice. So
the thing is, no, we're on those are gone. That money is gone.
I'm just saying.
This is new money.
Okay.
So if Gonzaga played their best and St. Mary's played their best for the full game, Gonzaga's going to win.
No, I don't know about
that. But they don't do that.
Yeah, but I don't know about that. I really think this year's St. Mary's team is the best team he's ever had. And we talked about that before because he's got a couple of guys, including that Russian the Hall of Fame Russian, Marcelonis, and his son. He is lethal. He is a really good player. I think he's an NBA player. And that's the thing. St. Mary's never has NBA players. They just had these really, lunch pail European guys. But what they're really good at is rebounding. And they make sure that if Gonzaga does not hit that first shot, they're not getting a second shot.
Well, they have that one really big guy underneath he's brutal. So they're very well coached. I mean,
it's just hard to beat a good team 3 times in the same season. But we don't need to win. All we need to do is cover. So yeah, look, we know this game can go away, but I know Jim's got a different philosophy. My philosophy, like I said, I mean, I've gone with St. Mary's the first 2 times and they've come through both times. I see no reason at all. There's nothing that tells me that I should change my mind here. Nothing.
Well, we're both on the same side for different reasons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's let me pull this up here.
All right. Now, let's go with the tournaments that are getting underway. So we're going to go ahead and make our predictions. And
Don't we have some other ones to look at?
No, that's it. We just did 4 of them.
How about did we do 4?
Yes.
I thought we did 3.
Nope, we did 4.
Oh, how about the MAAC? Did we do that?
That was Central Connecticut State.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Against St. Francis.
Okay, so let's go to the other ones. Sorry.
All right. So let's, I guess, stay in alphabetical order here. The ACC, of course, Duke, we all know is the heavy favorite at minus 320. To me, this is simple. And I've talked about how much I like Clemson here. So no way am I putting down minus 320 on Duke, even though this is probably going to be the easiest opportunity for Duke to ever win an ACC tournament because this conference is just not good. But Clemson beat Duke the last time they played. Plus I'm getting 650. I can't see Clemson. Now look, you're probably going to get Clemson and Louisville in the semis. So they're probably, they're going to have to beat Louisville and then Duke, a lot harder than what Duke has to do. But that's just a play for me.
Well, I agree. I'm on Clemson as well.
Okay. Let's go to the Big 12. And I know we're going to agree on this one because look at BYU. 11-1.
I'm definitely not playing Houston, although I like them. I can't play at that price.
I mean, what I don't know if BYU, I have to take a look at the bracket, and I'll do that in a second. As long as BYU, not that it matters, but obviously it would. I think a good play might be, though, to take Houston because it's even and BYU and then hope to get to the championship game.
Well, that's what I did the other night with Winthrop and High Point. I had both of them, and I wanted the 9-1 to win, but they didn't. But I had a ticket on both.
Yeah. Let's see if I've got a bracket here. Yes, I do. All right. Let's see if they have to when they're going to play.
I'm going to make one little statement here, though. You're looking. There's a guy that may be quitting as a coach They have put a couple games together here and there. They've not had a good year. Look out for Kansas.
Yeah, I mean they're
I'm not betting them. I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying look out for Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get Kansas at 13-1 in a tournament, and they're a talented team. I mean, everybody thought this was the best team in the country when the season began. So could they put it all together? And I think they have a much better chance of winning the Big 12 tournament, of course, than winning the national championship. That's for sure.
The one thing you have to look at in these conference games is the history of the coaching staff. Have they been there before? Have they done it? Do they know how to win tight under a lot of pressure in a situation like this? When you look at, I mean, we can't say anything negative about Houston, but the price is ridiculous. So, but if you're looking for an underdog that has a great coach and a great pedigree,
well,
and they turn it, Kansas could be the one.
Well, let's see. Kansas, if they get past the second round, they would. Let's see how this goes. Oh, they're a game 4 winner. So let's see.
I mean, it's got so many good teams in this.
I'm trying to figure out how the hell this is.
This conference is brutal.
Let's see. Yeah,
and you can't sleep on Iowa State or Texas Tech either.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out here. So Kansas plays game 4 winner. Okay. And this is BYU plays game 5 winner. Well, all right. Does that mean this must mean this is game 5? Okay. So that means BYU would play Iowa State in a rematch in the quarters. Kansas is the game 8 winner. So they would play Arizona, which they just beat. All right. So let's say Kansas can beat Arizona, which we both think they can. That's a game 12 there. That means that game 11 winner goes up against game 12. So that means Kansas, if they do beat Arizona, would take on Texas Tech. So Kansas wouldn't have to play Houston until the championship game. If that goes, if they keep winning. BYU, meanwhile, if they beat Iowa State, looks like they would be playing Houston in the semis. So BYU, unfortunately, gets Houston in the semis. Kansas wouldn't get them until the championship game. So it's possible, of course, if BYU were to upset Houston, you could have BYU and Kansas in the championship game if Houston gets upset.
I think it's a great $100 bet. Put it on.
I think both of them. I think both, BYU and Kansas. All right. Yeah, so there you go. That's the Big 12. We say go ahead and hit there on some long shots, BYU and Kansas. And if you want to go on Houston to hedge your bet, you can do that. All right, now let's go to Conference USA. And the Conference USA looks like it should be Liberty. Liberty's the favorite. It's a wide open conference, so it's not like there's, there are good teams. But Liberty's a team that has beaten Kansas State, which we know is a pretty good Big 12 team, even though they're not going to be in the tournament. And they also beat McNeese State. And we know how good McNeese State is as a one of those, what do you call them? Lower conference teams. What's a good name for that? I got so much shit in my head. Anyway, so the only thing I'm a little bit hesitant about with Liberty is I was looking at, I was like, wow, they beat McNeese State, they beat Kansas State. And by the way, they beat them in the same preseason conference tournament. And then I looked and I saw that there was one player that averages 10 points a game that played those games, but got injured about a few weeks later. That player is out at this point. I haven't seen him. Don't know if he's going to play, but they lost some games towards the end of the year, Liberty, that maybe they wouldn't have if they had this player on their rotation. So just keep that in mind. Not sure they're as good as they were when they beat those two teams, but they're still the class of the conference.
I'd give Western Kentucky a shot here at 20-1.
Okay. Any particular reason why?
No, it's just that I think it's kind of wide open. These teams are all the type of teams that can mail it in occasionally. There's 4 teams right there up under 88-1. Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee, New Mexico State, and Liberty. I mean, you can throw a blanket over them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, hey, if you're $100 better, put $25 on the 20-1 shot. What the hell you have to, it's not going to, and who knows if they get through the first round or two, you got an exciting play.
West Kentucky, they've got a first-year head coach, so we'll see how he does.
Yeah,
Hank
that's not the
Plona.
best. That's not the best situation.
Yeah, he's
But
never coached ever in any way, shape, or form. So
he
anyway,
he's never made any mistakes. That's a good thing.
yeah, we'll see about that. All right, and then let's talk about the MAAC with two A's. Okay, here we go. And we've got also pretty wide open. Merrimack and Quinnipiac are the two at the top, but a lot of teams, even Mount St. Mary's might even be a good play. Marist could be a good play. They're playing each other, by the way, I think in the quarterfinals. So, one of those teams you might be able to get, I think, in the semis. But those two teams are probably the best value teams. Do you like any of these teams?
No, nothing here. I've played a few of these. Well, oh boy.
Marist, by the way, ended their season losing 4 straight, 3 of them in double figures. So I wouldn't
how about I throw out Sacred Heart?
Sacred Heart at 11-1. Okay.
Why? I couldn't give you an intelligent answer. Just throw it. I mean, I'm not betting. I'm not going to bet Western Kentucky. I'm not going to bet Sacred Heart. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to throw out Mount St. Mary's then. I think they're getting, like I said, pretty good value. And this is, again, you got any of these teams here can win this thing. Okay. And then we've got a conference that is pretty much considered the worst conference each year, the SWAC.
The SWAC.
So yeah, these teams usually get blitzed come tournament time, if I can find it in here. Southern is the favorite. Jackson State is the second choice, and Alabama State might be the intriguing long shot. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see.
I will not be betting the SWAC.
Yeah, I don't. That's not like one to invest your money in. No, I wouldn't think so. Anyway, Alabama State has beaten Southern, the favorite of the conference, twice, and they beat him twice by 1 point. So take that for whatever it's worth. I don't know why I can't find the SWAC here. Here it is. All right. So Alabama State's at 6-1. They've beaten Southern twice by a point. So that's the only thing I found out that kind of stuck out in the SWAC. Also a conference where anything is possible. But Southern, they were not actually predicted to be a top team this year, but they've had a good season, and they beat Jacksonville State in overtime in their only matchup this season. Okay, now let's wrap it all up with the WAC. And this is a conference that you want to be keeping an eye on. These are a couple of teams and likely championship game teams, Grand Canyon and Utah Valley.
Well, Utah Valley had a run a couple of years ago that was pretty exciting. They're not the same as they were, but this is
this is a possible bracket buster team here. Whoever wins this conference. Bryce Drew, of course, is the coach at Grand Canyon. All they do is win. And Utah Valley, a very good defensive team. They got good size. They got a second-year head coach who actually, if you look at it, I believe this is that college that has really developed good coaching. Like coaches go there for a couple of years, like you said, probably the team that was really good a couple of years ago, that coach left, went somewhere. So they've done that a couple of times. Anyway, so that's what we're expecting. We're expecting a Grand Canyon Utah Valley matchup in the championship. And Grand Canyon still appears to be the better team, but anything is possible. But keep an eye on the champion of this conference. They could be a bracket buster for sure. All right. So anything with the WAC, or are you done there, Jim?
I'm passing. There's so much action.
Okay.
on the quality plays teams that right now, I'm not gonna try to dig down any deeper.
And then we're going to be back again. We've got the Playbook ATS podcast show later today, where we're going to talk to both Andy and Tony and get their opinions and predictions on all of the big conference tournaments starting this week and ending this week. So we'll get some additional eyes and research and predictions. So you want to check that show out. We're going to record that one at 2 Eastern. So that should be available to watch here on the channel at sometime around 4 to 5 Eastern. And then Jim and I are going to be back again tomorrow. Actually, we're going to be back every day this week. But tomorrow is our last busiest day. Thank goodness. Because we're going to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 conference tournaments begin. So that includes some more big ones. The Big Ten, the Big East, the A-10, the Mountain West, the SEC, the American. And so those are the tournaments that are beginning when we talk tomorrow morning. But then there are 3 championship games tomorrow night: the Big Sky, the Patriot, and the Southland. So that's what we're going to be covering on tomorrow morning show right here on ProLine TV. And don't forget to check us out on the Playbook ATS podcast, where Andy Isco and Tony Mejia will join us. Mark is going to be way too busy with the newsletter, so he's not going to be able to make it. Hopefully we'll have Mark next week. I'm not even sure. Mark's going to get an extra day next week because we'll be airing the show on Wednesday. So maybe that'll give Mark the extra time he needs to. And I'm sure if we don't get Mark, I'm going to make sure I get all his predictions. So, but Mark will probably make the show. I know it's a show he wants to make. We got a lot of predictions to bracket. And don't forget, we're going to have a bracket special coming out on Sunday night, an hour after the brackets are out. I know Jim and I will be there. Even though Jim's going, I didn't say I was going to be there, but I'm going to make sure Jim's there. And also, of course, we're going to get Andy and Tony. Hopefully will join us. Not sure if Mark's going to be able to. He probably won't. I'm sure once the bracket's out, boom, he's into working in his cave. So, Jim, appreciate it as always. Oh, by the way, don't forget to watch our golf coverage at 4:00. We're recording that with Brady Cannon. So it should be available sometime around 6 today. We're going to preview the Players Championship, a very big event in professional golf this week. So check that show out later on here on ProLine TV. Jim, appreciate your time as always, and I'll talk to you in a few hours.
Okay. Good luck, everybody.